right, folks, it's episode 1. It is Stupiracy.
Stupiracy.
That's the name of our podcast, Stupiracy.
Explain what stupiracy means.
Stupiracy, it's stupid history and conspiracy theories.
I love it.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
That's what we got. That's what we've got. That's what you've got.
Well, you're a history guy, right?
I am. I'm a history nerd.
I love history.
Yes.
I love learning. I love reading. And every day on our radio shows, I mean, you talk sports, you talk pop culture, I kind of do the same thing. But this is stuff, we'll talk about stuff in this podcast that you wouldn't learn in history class.
No, these are things that the social studies teacher would have redacted from the lesson plan. But here, these are going to be focal points of topics, and we're going to go deep diving on stupid history and conspiracy theories.
So let's go stupid history.
Perfect.
For episode 1. Now, what do you know, Mr. Tim McKernan, about Napoleon?
I know he's one of the few historical figures who I'm taller than.
Okay. How tall are you?
Well, I'm wearing lifts today, like 6-inch pumps.
Okay.
And that gets me to 5'4". And I believe Napoleon was hovering around 5 feet tall, I believe.
Wrong.
No, already
Already
I am being educated on this podcast.
Well, you've heard about the Napoleonic complex.
I've been accused of having
short person syndrome,
Right.
where you're short and angry.
Sure, right. See what I feel like you're passive aggressively describing right here.
You're already wrong about Napoleon. He was about 5'6".
Really? Maybe I'm not taller than him.
So 5'6", which was, nowadays it would be on the shorter side.
It'd be tough. They wouldn't swipe right on you if you were on the apps.
But back then, that was average height for
really
person living in France. So 5'6", let's say about 5'6", maybe even pushing 5'7".
Really?
That's it.
Wow. Okay.
We're not going to talk about Napoleon's height.
No.
I'm sure you heard, at the Battle of Waterloo. Waterloo, the great, defeat, and that's, what took Napoleon down.
I'm aware of that.
We'll touch upon that.
Okay.
But really, what today's episode is about, if you watch on the video.
Hold on. Oh my God. It's right up there on the board.
Right on the board. We're going to talk about Napoleon's penis.
Yeah, that's the lead. That's absolutely the lead.
Episode is about. It's about Napoleon's penis. Now, they didn't teach you about Napoleon's penis in high school.
Didn't come.
No. So what the heck happened to Napoleon's penis? That's the question we're going to answer today on Stupiracy.
Perfect.
So legend has it that his dingling, I'm trying to be classy.
Right.
That his dingling.
Yeah, this is NPR.
Was lopped off when he died, and his dingling was passed around until it wound up in New Jersey.
Now, if I ask a question after every time I'm surprised by something, we might have a 10-hour podcast, but I feel obligated to immediately ask about the lopping off.
Okay. Well,
is this at Waterloo?
Now, I always say, to understand the penis, you need to understand the man.
That's my credo as well.
So we'll get to what happened with his penis and why it wound up in New Jersey, but a little history about Napoleon first. All right, so he was born August 15, 1769.
Okay.
He was born on the Mediterranean island of Corsica.
Okay, didn't know that either.
Second of 8 kids born to Carlo and Letizia. Bonaparte. Yes, he was actually Italian. Bonaparte is an Italian last name.
I got to stop saying that, but I didn't know any of this stuff.
So the year before Napoleon was born, France acquired the island of Corsica from the then city-state of Genoa, and Napoleon later adopted the French spelling of his last name, which is Bonaparte, like you know now.
Yes, okay.
So, and he wasn't born into a rich family or anything. Let's say he was like 1760s middle class. And he went to school, mainland France, graduated from the French Military Academy back in 1785. 4 years later, 1789, the French Revolution. French Revolution begins, and then within 3 years of the French Revolution starting, the monarchy is overthrown. Now, I'm sure in high school history class they touched upon the French Revolution and all that stuff, but that plays a little part in Napoleon's penis. We'll get to the penis. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's what I'm salivating on. I don't know if that's the right verb to use, but that's my focus. Once you put that up there.
Napoleon's penis.
Napoleon's penis.
So after the revolution, Napoleon was promoted to the rank of brigadier general in the French army. He moved up pretty quick. In 1795, Napoleon helped strike down an insurrection against the new government and was promoted to major general. Dude was making things happen, and this guy is rising through the ranks. 1796, he commanded a French army that kicked the ass of the much bigger Austrian army. The next year, France and Austria signed a treaty resulting in huge land gains for the French. Napoleon was killing it, and everybody knew it. And over the next couple of years, he fought the British in Egypt. He took on the Ottoman Empire in Syria. This guy had some balls. In 1799, he was part of a group that successfully overthrew the heads of the new French government. He was part of this three-member consulate. Basically, Napoleon was calling the shots here. In 1800, he led a force that completely drove the Austrians out of Italy, and he wound up signing a treaty with the British because they saw what was happening and said, they didn't want none of what Napoleon was bringing. So in 1802, a constitutional amendment named Napoleon first consul for life. 2 years later, Napoleon's balls got even bigger when he crowned himself Emperor of France.
He crowned himself?
Crowned himself.
Wow. And I gather he had the leverage with the French people to do this. He was the guy.
He was revered. He beat the Austrians. He took on the British. So he crowned himself. Hey, I'm a king.
I am now in charge.
I'm an Italian accent. I'm a king.
I noticed that.
Yeah. I'm a king. So that's his rise to power, but what about his personal life? So 1796, he married a woman named Josephine. She was 6 years older than him. So he was 27, she was 33.
Cougar situation.
Josephine was a widow, already had 2 teenage kids. In fact, rumor has it that he kind of changed her birth certificate to show that she was younger than 33 because he didn't want anybody knowing that he married an older woman.
Is that right? Now I kind of feel like that's a badge of honor in 2024. But back then, in the early 19th century,
he was a cougar hunter.
He was cougar hunting.
He was cougar hunting.
He was up at Brio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Up at Brio.
Yeah.
If you're in St. Louis, you know what that is.
Exactly.
The Frontenac Brio.
That's the one I would think is probably the one to hit. Yeah.
But the marriage didn't last. So in 1809, after Josephine couldn't give him any kids, Napoleon had their marriage annulled so he could find a new wife who could produce an heir. Remember, he's
young and virile.
He's
the emperor.
He's the emperor. He's the king. So he needs a proper heir.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1810, he married a woman named Marie Louise, the daughter of the Emperor of Austria. The next year, she gave birth to their son Napoleon II. In addition to Junior, this dude had a bunch of illegitimate kids. Like he was a poon hound, an 1800 early 1800s poon hound.
Is that what he was? That's what he was.
Yeah. He was going forth and spread the seed, but he had a Napoleon Jr. So back to the fighting here. So from 1803 to 1815, it was war, more war. The Napoleonic Wars. He conquered Egypt and he conquered Belgium and he conquered Holland, a lot of Italy, Austria, most of Germany, Poland, Spain. So again, this guy
he's expanding this French empire. Okay, I see it. So he's got all the leverage in the world. He's got an heir now. He's got the new wife. Mm-hmm. Everything's going well.
But war is expensive. So to raise funds, he sold France's Louisiana territory in North America to the new United States. Now, you heard about the Louisiana Purchase?
Sure. Which
actually includes where we are now, St. Louis. So he sold, a giant piece of land for $15 million.
Wow. Bet he'd like to have that one back.
So Thomas Jefferson bought all that land from Napoleon for $15 million.
So that was the motivation for the Louisiana Purchase. I always wondered about that. That was because of the French expansion.
He needed to fund the war.
Okay.
All the wars. Mm-hmm. So again, war is expensive. And Napoleon was one cocky son of a bitch.
Was he?
He was a cocky son of a bitch. In the summer of 1812, he made a big mistake. He wanted to conquer Russia. So he led a massive army into Russia. And the Russians, smart people. Yes, I am married to a Russian. I'm not saying the Russians are smart people because of that. I'm saying the Russians had a plan. So anytime the French tried to attack the Russians would retreat. So Napoleon attacked and the Russians would go, retreat, retreat. So anytime that happened, they would retreat farther into Russia. And the French would follow. Napoleon's troops went deeper and deeper and deeper into Russia despite not being prepared for a long campaign. So remember this, the summer of 1812.
Yeah.
In September of 1812, Napoleon's forces got into Moscow. So they got into Moscow only to find out that nobody was there. The entire population was already evacuated. The Russians had retreated and they had set fires to places in the city so the French couldn't get food, rearm themselves. So they basically trapped them in Moscow.
This was a rope-a-dope.
This was a rope-a-dope. Wow. Let's get them into, let's set the trap. Let's get them all the way into Moscow. Now it's September. Now, I don't know if Napoleon was in denial or something, but he thought that the Russians would eventually surrender. Like, hey, we're in their capital. Nobody's here. A surrender's going to come anytime now. So they waited a month. They waited a month in Moscow. The surrender never came. So after waiting that month, he had to march the troops back to France. It's now wintertime. So now you have a French army who is unprepared, ill-prepared. They're hungry. They don't have supplies. Now they have to march from Moscow back to France in the wintertime. Totally unprepared. Again, they had started the invasion in the summertime.
Yeah.
So as he's marching the troops back to France, they're exhausted, not equipped. Disaster. On the way back, the Russian army attacked.
Oh, they were lying in wait as they were heading back west.
Heading back to France. And it was described, the attacks were described as aggressive and merciless. So of the 600,000 troops that he marched into Russia, only 100,000 made it out. So he lost, on the low count, 500,000 people. Now, at the same time, France was getting their army was getting its ass kicked by the Spanish and Portuguese with help from the British. And they also wind up losing a battle to a coalition made up of Austrians and Prussians and Russian and Swedish troops in the Battle of Leipzig, which was on the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain, Spain, Portugal. Napoleon retreated back to France, and in March of 1814, that coalition overtook Paris, captured Paris. April 6th, 1814, Napoleon was forced to give up the throne. Woo! So I said he was a cocky son of a bitch. Lost in Russia, got his butt kicked on the Iberian Peninsula, and then this coalition force came in, overtook Paris. He was forced to give up the throne. Now, he was exiled to the island of Elba, which is just off the coast of Italy. His wife and Napoleon Jr. didn't go with him. They went to Austria. So he was on the island of Elba by himself in exile. Less than a year later, he escaped. He escaped, sailed back to France with a group of about 1,000 supporters. He was welcomed back in France. They still loved Napoleon in France. He was welcomed back with cheers and parades. And actually, the new king of France, Louis XVIII, he bounced. He's like, this guy,
I don't have the equity with the public that Napoleon does. Napoleon, welcome back.
Welcomed back with open arms. So Louis XVIII was like, I'm out. So in June of 1815, he gets cocky again and invades Belgium with his new army. He just can't
He can't help himself.
He can't help himself.
Yeah.
He just loves war. He just wants to, get the French Empire back to what it was. Remember, he had conquered all that land. So he wants to get the French army back up and going. Let's start conquering again. In Belgium, that's where the British and Prussian troops were stationed, so he wanted to get his revenge. Everything was going okay for a couple of days, but on June 18th of 1815, at the Battle of Waterloo, near Brussels, his army was soundly defeated, crushed. And on June 22nd, once again, forced to give up the throne.
It's gone again now.
Now, this time, they're like, we're not going to put you on Elba, which is in the Mediterranean, and maybe, you could do your thing and, I don't know, sit on the beach.
Enjoy a boat drink.
Right. Now they exile him to the remote island of St. Helena, which is in the South Atlantic Ocean. And he died there May 5th, 1821, for most likely, they're saying, stomach cancer. Okay. So that's kind of the brief history in a nutshell of Napoleon, the battles, and he dies in 1821. Again, most likely from stomach cancer. You know all those portraits you see of Napoleon?
Mm-hmm. Looking like a fancy general,
right.
Fancy general.
And he's got his
Looks like Michael Jackson at the Grammys.
Right, and he's got his hand always on his stomach. They say that's because he was most likely in pain.
Oh, wow. Man, this is all making sense now.
They say he was most likely in pain all the time. That's why he always had his hand in his shirt.
Right, to comfort his stomach.
Right.
Okay.
So he was 51 when he died.
Right.
Now, Tim, you're asking, what about the penis?
That's what I've been wondering. How do they go and get the man's penis?
What about the penis? Now, there was an autopsy after Napoleon died. Now, during the procedure, apparently the doctor that was doing the autopsy, Napoleon had made fun of him and was just a general a-hole to him. So his organs were removed from his body. Now, we're talking his heart, we're talking his stomach, pieces of his ribs, and the doctor lopped off his penis.
Lop.
Took the penis off the body. Now, according to historians, the doctor who did the autopsy gave Napoleon's penis to the priest who performed Napoleon's last rites.
I'm obligated, on behalf of the audience, to ask, why?
Why the priest wanted the penis?
That is my question.
In all my research, I could not find.
I felt like I would be putting you on the spot with that one, but I'm like, why did the doctor at that point say, hey, I know you did the last rites. Would you like his ween?
Right. It's, it's going to the souvenir shop after,
Right. It'll be in the hotel lobby.
After riding something at Disney, you go to the,
right.
You get the mouse ears. I guess you do the last rites on Napoleon, you get the penis. I don't know. But so the priest has the penis and he smuggles it to the island of Corsica. Now the priest, shady guy. Shady guy. He's got the dong. He wound up being killed, the priest, in some strange blood vendetta. I don't know if the priest pissed somebody off. What happened? The priest was killed. The penis was then passed along.
So the priest is killed with the penis in his pocket.
No, I don't know where the penis is at this point. The penis is maybe back at the priest's house.
Yeah, at the rectory.
I don't know where the priest lives on the island of Corsica, but the priest was in possession of the penis. Uh-huh. He was killed in some kind of blood vendetta, murdered. The penis then gets passed along to the priest's family. In 1916, a British collector somehow wound up with the penis. Okay, in 1924, an American rare books dealer bought the penis from the British collector. So now an American has a hold of the penis. In 1927, Napoleon's penis was put on display at the Museum of French Art in New York. Tons of people turned out to see it. I can imagine in the newspaper, see Napoleon's penis, come to the Museum of French Art, 5 cents, see the penis.
Yeah, great value.
Hundreds of people turned out to walk past the penis. Now, you're asking yourself, Riz, how is the penis displayed? I'm glad you asked him. Was it in a jar of formaldehyde to preserve it?
Yeah.
No. It was in a little leather presentation box.
Oh, wow.
The penis had been dried out in the air. So it was described as being like a piece of leather or a shriveled eel.
Oh, how erotic.
Now from there, the penis changed hands a bunch of times.
From the museum.
From the museum. It was bought, it was sold, it was passed down to family members. At some point, the French government was offered, they were given the opportunity, hey, this is one of your famous generals, Napoleon, French history. Do you want the penis? And they said, no, we don't want the penis. We don't want anything to do with it. They want nothing to do with Napoleon's penis.
They politely declined. You gave us the Statue of Liberty. Say, would you like Napoleon's penis?
I figure it's a fair trade.
I agree. But they didn't like
French army, the French government had wanted nothing to do with the penis. So if the French government didn't want it, they didn't want to touch the penis. The leading collector in the U.S. of strange relics was very interested. The guy's name is Dr. John Latimer, actually a urologist, this guy. He bought the penis in 1977.
In 77?
Now we're
now we're kind of going current day-ish.
He died in 1812, and now it's 1977.
Okay.
And because the doctor was a urologist, he wanted to take the penis out of circulation.
Nice. I enjoyed the choice of words as well.
He bought it. How much do you think? 1977.
Yeah, let's play auctioneer here.
1977. How much is Napoleon's penis going for?
Calculate inflation on the fly here. $50K.
No. A bargain. $3,000.
Oh man. Now,
So
I'm mad at my dad for
He
that
bought,
thing.
he bought Napoleon's penis for $3,000.
Value.
And that would, well, in 1977 money, that would be about 15 grand in 2024. Still,
Absolutely.
I mean, one of the most famous generals in history.
I mean, what a conversation starter.
Yeah, you put that in your living room?
Right.
What a conversation piece.
Absolutely.
I would have it right on the coffee table.
Say happy holidays.
So, and this guy, by the way, already had some weird stuff in his collection. So he had Lincoln's bloodstained collar
Oh man.
from the Ford's Theater incident. This doctor actually worked on the autopsy of JFK.
Wow.
Had upholstery from the president's limo in Dallas. So when I say this guy collected weird stuff, this guy had like weird.
He's also like the Forrest Gump of American history and assassinations. Look at this.
He had some like weird, quirky things in his collection. So, and again, as a urologist, he didn't like the fact that people were making fun of Napoleon's penis.
Why were they making fun of it? Was it I'm obligated. I feel like at some point the size needs to be discussed. Was it a tiny little?
Yeah.
Oh no. Boy, that's a bad beat.
We're talking about 1.5 inches.
No, a microween.
Now again, it's dried out, so
I'm going to use that.
Again, in my research, I could not find how big Napoleon's penis was.
Did you use this on like one of your children's search engines?
I actually did.
Oh, wow. That'll be a fun conversation.
Yeah. On my daughter's computer, Napoleon's penis size. I'm doing research, honey.
This is what puts food on the table.
This is why you have a roof over your head.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So 1.5 inches on display. So I don't know if when it's rehydrated, I don't know if it's going to get much bigger.
Sure, you never know.
That could have
Grower, shower.
It could have been a reason why Napoleon was so angry. I don't know why he wanted to conquer things because he had a micro dick. I don't know.
Some guys have that situation. They get themselves a Corvette. In his case, he wanted Russia. But I respect it.
But Dr. John, the urologist, again, he bought the penis because he didn't want Napoleon's penis to be an object of, his words, derision.
This was defending Napoleon's microween's honor.
Mm-hmm.
This was a gesture of integrity.
Defending penises everywhere.
Amen.
So the doctor put Napoleon's penis in a briefcase and stored it under his bed at his house in New Jersey. And when people wanted to see it, they knew the doctor had Napoleon's penis. He would say no. He rarely let somebody open up the briefcase to see the penis. Now, the doctor has since passed away, and now his daughter has possession of Napoleon's penis still in New Jersey.
Oh, so that was passed along in the will.
Passed along, along with the bloodstained collar, along with the upholstery from the JFK limo. The daughter is now in possession of Napoleon's penis, and she's been offered quite a bit of money for the penis.
Now, so her father got it for $3 grand in 1977. People now are offering, I would imagine, 6 or 7 figures.
Yeah, the last offer I saw was $100,000. Wow.
And she's saying no.
She's saying no.
Is she wanting more money, or is this just priceless?
I don't know if she's holding out.
Yeah. Gonna fire her a DM.
Maybe. I don't know if, in her dad's, last wishes, don't get rid of the penis. Keep it in the family.
So he sounds like Brando at the end of The Godfather as he's discussing the penis.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Keep the penis. So that is how Napoleon's penis wound up going from the general himself being passed around from a weird priest to his family to a American art collector, being on display in New York City, to now under a bed in New Jersey.
That's one of the most educational and fascinating lessons I've ever heard. I can't believe what I learned about the French Revolution.
Yeah.
I learned about the French attempt at going into Russia, the wonderful move by the Russian military, tip of the cap on that. And then Napoleon's penis and the priest. And then now it's under a bed somewhere in the Garden State.
In New Jersey.
Is that right?
And who knows in the future, maybe the daughter will wind up selling it to somebody.
Right.
Maybe Napoleon's penis will be put in a museum somewhere. I feel like Indiana Jones. It belongs in a museum.
What's this little eel-like device? 1.5 inches.
Tim, you want to see it?
I think I'm obligated to.
You have to see it. Here we go. There is Napoleon's penis.
Oh, wow. It looks like a pine cone of some kind.
Isn't that weird?
With like a little,
I don't know.
latch on it. What's the latch? Did he have a Prince Albert?
I don't know what's going on there.
There's a latch.
But it's in a nice little display, like a display case. I don't know. I don't know what's next to it. Maybe a certificate of authenticity. I don't know. As if you're getting a piece of, baseball memorabilia.
Right, absolutely. Signed by Ozzie Smith.
What is that?
1985.
That's gem mint right there.
That's what it is. It looks like a butterfly is going to emerge from it at some point.
But that is under a bed in New Jersey.
I guess we got to visit Jersey now. Knock on the door.
But there you go. That is the history of Napoleon's penis. Something I know, they won't teach in high school.
But yet I feel like with that detail, you should be a professor on this. I mean, this could be a course. You get 3 credit hours.
Was that a compelling story?
It was I've been on the edge of my seat the whole time. I didn't know like 90% of this stuff. I think the 1.5 inches is candidly startling. I feel badly for him, but now I think it may explain, as you made reference to,
why he was so
doing.
angry.
Yeah. And now the fact that it's under a bed somewhere in Jersey, I'm picturing like a Soprano situation, and then it's just like in the little handling bag. Dandy little bag.
A leather, like a leather briefcase that's got the 3 numbers.
You gotta punch in.
You gotta put in the 3 spin number code to open up the, and then there it is. Oh, almost like a Pulp Fiction. Like you open up the case and the light comes out. Oh my God, is that Napoleon's penis? Maybe in Pulp Fiction, when Julius does open the case, it is Napoleon's penis in there. That is emitting.
That's what this is going on. It all goes back to that. I would imagine the fragrance that would emanate from said dandy little handling bag at this point would not necessarily be rewarding.
I'm sure at first it stunk, but now it's probably so dry.
Yeah, right.
It's probably lost its stench a long time ago.
I mean, in general, not an aesthetically pleasing part of male anatomy, but now, nearly 200 years later, and in a handling bag under a New Jersey bed, I would imagine this thing has to be repulsive. And just for the record, because you're defending its honor, you are saying it's probably dried up. Otherwise, he could have been,
Let's say it a micro dick. All right, that is what Stupiracy is all about.
It is.
Napoleon's Penis, episode 1. In the books.
I consider myself educated, and I consider myself stunned. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.